Hello. Today I'm going to share tip number 5 on my top 10 best tips for hurting parents. And it is to face your fears. Face your fears. I know it sounds really hard, but we can do it. And what do I mean by face your fears? I mean to look them square in the face. Something that helped me was that I made a list. I wrote down everything I could think of that I was afraid of for my daughter, the things I was afraid might happen. And I listed them in my book, You Are Not Alone, in in the chapter of fear and worry. And there were quite a few. And the greatest one that took me a long time to even be able to verbalize was that I was afraid my daughter might die. And it wasn't until I actually faced it and said it out loud to someone that disarmed that fear and helped me to begin to cope with it. Because with all of our fears and what ifs, the only thing we can really know for certain is that God will be with us no matter what happens. So the tip is to trade and exchange your what ifs for even if. Even if what I fear the most, my child gets AIDS, my son goes to prison, my daughter gets pregnant, they try and take their life, or they actually die. Even if those things happen, we can still know that God is with us, He's for us, He will help us, that somehow we will survive, we will be okay again. And one of the things that, well, 2 tips, and I've shared these before, for dealing with fear is to set a time limit and let yourself just worry and focus on those fears each day. That maybe it's 8 o'clock at night, and maybe it's 15 minutes, and you just stew and fuss and think about it and talk to yourself about it, but then you stop and you say, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. So focus on it, face them, but set a time limit. And the other is to use something called a God box. And I describe that in my book. It's a practical tip. I learned it from Al-Anon, and it involves writing down what you're fearful or worried about and putting it in a box and then putting that box away. And the whole process symbolizes giving those fears to God, acknowledging them, admitting they're real, that you are feeling those things, but surrendering them to Him. A couple of verses that really help me with fear to overcome and find peace. One is from Psalm 52, verse 22, and it's from the NASB version. And it says, "Cast your burdens on the Lord, and He will sustain you." Another Bible verse that helped me is Psalm 94:19. And it says, "When my anxious thoughts multiply within me, your consolations delight my soul." When they multiply within me, God's comforting words, His consolations, delight my soul. And the last one is from the 23rd Psalm. You may know it well. And it's the part that says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, because you are with me." The Living Bible says, "You are close by my side," close by. So, starve your fears and feed your faith, friends. Starve your fears and feed your faith. So I hope you enjoy today's tip number 5. Next week, I'll share another one. God bless you today as you find the courage to face your fears. Bye for now.